I was recently asked, what are the biggest fears that come up around speaking on video? And the number one fear that I've found with my clients is the fear of looking bad. So that's obvious. We can dig into that later. But I want to share with you today a secret, sneaky one that most people overlook, but it can stop so many people from being confident on video. So I'll share that with you today. So the fear of looking bad is the number one fear that's come up with video confidence. You know, people don't want to look bad. They don't want to ruin their reputation. They don't want to really tarnish their record. They don't want to push away their ideal clients. And that makes a lot of sense. But I want to share with you today a client story that someone I was working with came up and we were talking and she was just stalling out. She was stalling on putting the videos out there. It kept happening. And when we dug into it, I asked, like, what's really going on? And it came back to this. And this is so common, okay? Maybe you've experienced this. But it was the fear of not getting approval from the parents, okay? The fear of upsetting the parents. This comes through so many times, especially in adults. So I'll work with clients, they're in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. And when we get down to it, there's that lack of confidence, that insecurity often comes from not receiving approval from their parents. And so what happens is a lot of my clients, they'll go and they're constantly seeking approval. Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? And they keep pushing harder. The problem is they're not going to get that approval that they're desperately seeking, and that is from their parents. So all the business wins in the world won't get that for you. It's something that you have to look at from a parent side. But there's two parts to this. The first, it's even detaching from it. Because oftentimes this comes up in childhood where it's this desire, this need for approval. But what happens is if this goes on, you're still attached and you're not able to be true. You're not able to put yourself out there because a lot of times in the home situation, it's been a condition where we don't share our dirty laundry. We don't talk about what happens behind closed doors. So the very prospect of you being personal and vulnerable, which is essential for any confident leader today, it's about vulnerability. It's about authenticity. There's that barrier there that's going to prevent you from sharing that truth. And what happens is that disconnect. It's going to lead to procrastination, hesitation, and even if you do, it's going to be a very armored up, guarded video. And so that's something to look at, is really deconstructing that narrative that what happens in the house stays in the house. Because a lot of times you're speaking your truth and looking at it, you got to look from the approval side. For myself, I had a big breakthrough with my father. It was about 6 years ago. And I was in a personal development training program. We were talking about certain things and who were you holding anger and resentment towards. And my dad, that was the person that I did. And so I called him and we had a very clearing call where I expressed gratitude for everything he's done for me. And at the end of it, he says, you know, Lucas, I'm very proud of you. First time I ever heard that. I was absolutely blown away. But it was amazing to see that I had to be the person to clear that resentment, to give that space for him to say that. And now our relationship has improved 1,000 times, but it took that opportunity to make that call. So a lot of times when you're seeking approval, it's looking at it, and perhaps there could be resentment, there could be anger there. Definitely, there's always things. Your parents didn't have a manual of how to raise a kid, so there's going to be things that went sideways. But it's, can you express gratitude and really clear up some of that resentment? That, for me, that was, in my experience, that's what worked best. But the seeking approval, the other piece too, is having that conversation. I remember years ago, I had a call with my parents and they were concerned. They were very concerned about me putting myself out there and, you know, how's this going to go? And it just kept manifesting and it was leading to a lot of just tension because they were afraid. And when we cleared it up, they were afraid that I was going to fail, that my business wasn't going to work. And my mom said to me, she's like, Lucas, do you understand how hard it is to see your son struggling? Like, and I can't help you at all. I don't know anything about business. I don't know how to help you. I feel helpless. And that was a very pivotal moment because I was able to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to win. But what I need is some space because your fear is really, it's hard for me to see. It's hard for me to see. It's difficult. I'm already, feeling a lot of pressure on me to win already and to make this work, but that is counterproductive. So we had a really good clearing around that. So for you, when it's coming to putting yourself out on video, really looking at it is whose approval do you seek? So if it's external, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a friend, clearing that up because that's going to be this limiter that's going to stop you. The second thing is really coming back to approval of yourself. And that's the key. For you to be confident on video, we have to detach from that approval because other people are living their own lives. You know, they're your parents, your friends, your partner, they've had their own experiences. And so their goals are going to be different than yours. So really coming back home to yourself, that's the big thing. If you want to be confident on video, It's about coming back home to yourself and going, what do I need to be happy? What do I want to say? That's the only thing that you need to get approval. Because when you live a life of integrity, of authenticity, you speak your truth, that's what's going to lead to that peace and happiness, okay? And so that's the big thing that I want to share with you. It's an obstacle that comes up a lot of times is when I'm working with clients and they're stalling about putting themselves on video. They know they need to. Logically, absolutely. I know I need to do videos. I know I need to get my message out there. I know I need to play a bigger game. But this is a sneaky obstacle that a lot of times it's really unseen by most people. It's about looking at whose approval do I need and whose approval do I seek. Whose approval you're seeking could be external. Whose approval you need is only your own. And so that, my friends, is go inside, give yourself approval, give yourself permission, be authentic, share your truth, because everyone's going to have opinions. It could be friends, it could be family members. And if you stop sharing your truth because you're afraid of what they're going to say, it's going to lead to a lot of anger and resentment towards them. And maybe, though, you're looking for that as an excuse to avoid facing the fears of putting yourself out there. That's a sneaky trap that comes up too, but it's all about personal responsibility. Look at that, because at the end of the day, this is about approval of yourself. That's the only thing that matters. So speak your truth, be your most authentic self, and play that big game. And if you want help, if you're like, hey, this sounds amazing, and I want someone that's going to help me navigate these waters, you want the fast path to do that, definitely go to levelupliving.com. I have programs designed specifically to help heart-centered entrepreneurs that are here to play a big game, that want to speak their truth, that want to be heard. So if that's you, go to levelupliving.com, and I look forward to work with you.